The solutions aren't in the problem being regurgitated. And so I think as people are starting to understand that more, the faster I can get somebody to understand that they actually have the answers internally. But when I tap into somebody and they start remembering how great their intuition is, how freaking smart they are, and how well they can solve problems, immediately the business starts seeing results. It's so powerful. And it's like giving the power back to the human. I think it's something we really need to be focused on right now.
Welcome to the Sunlight Tax Podcast. In this show, we're talking about taxes, money, and careers for self-employed people who have a big vision for changing the world with their work. I'm your host, Hannah Cole, artist, design nerd, tax pro, author of Taxes for Humans, and the founder of Sunlight Tax. If you're a creative, wellness, or mission-driven entrepreneur who wants to grow your business sustainably, manage your taxes, and build a stash of fuck you money so you can control your time and have a bigger impact with your work, you are in the right place. Hello, beautiful. I am so excited to bring you a guest episode today. I had a conversation with business coach Sarah Walton, who I really love because she knows what it's like to be broke, and she knows what it's like to have the power and influence of having money. And she serves her clients ethically and believes in women helping women. And it just really speaks to my heart. And she's a fun guest because she's got a great sense of personality and energy. So it was a really fun episode. So excited for you to hear us talk about AI, online business, course models changing, and what is really working for people in business now. So here's Sarah's bio, and I can't wait for you to hear the whole episode. Sarah Walton is a business coach and sales expert who's been featured on the Today Show, speaks at women's conferences all over the world, and has helped hundreds of women start and grow businesses they love. She works with a handful of one-on-one clients, runs the Sales Mastermind, and leads her exclusive Abundance Academy for women in business. She's the voice behind the Game On Girlfriend podcast and the face of Sarah Uncut on YouTube. From growing up in a low-income household with a single mom to helping moms turn their passion into a business they love that can support their families, Sarah's lived experience shows how women can powerfully change their lives and the lives of their families and communities. Through her successful coaching business, which she designed to put more money in the hands of more women, Sarah transitioned from being just another coach to being a change maker. It's time to put more money in the hands of more women, and Sarah is all in. Sarah Walton, welcome to the Sunlight Tax Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm awesome, Hannah. Thank you so much for having me. I got to tell you, I love talking to you. I just always have the best time when we're talking. I love it.
Thank you. I agree. We were talking off camera. You have such good energy. I love it. And I need it. So thank you.
Aw, you're so welcome. That's so kind of you to say. Thank you. And back at you.
Thanks. So my listeners need a little intro. So will you tell everybody listening, like, who do you serve and why?
Yeah. Okay. So I love serving women who've been really successful, but there's still like this ache, right? There's always this like whole, like, there's this little underlying hustle. There's an underpinning of, am I really good enough to be doing this? Is this enough? Even if there's money in the bank, even if all that's happening, I really help the woman who's been really successful, but she knows something's off. And I've been called a wealth consciousness expert, which I'm like, that's so nice. Thank you. Like, I'll take that title. Yeah. But it's really the idea that wealth is so much more than money. Yes, money has to be there 100%. But this idea that as women, we've really been conditioned to believe that our true wealth, right, is dependent upon how well we perform, how well we shapeshift into what other people need us to be, how tired we are, how selfless we are. And I'm really out to change that. I think it's really important that we understand not only should we rest, we need to rest. And it's not okay to take on the unpaid emotional labor that is constantly being put on us just because of that's how we were conditioned to do it, right? There's no big bad here. I don't ever say that, but there's so much deconditioning that needs to be done for women to really soar, to really enjoy, to really be joyful, have these beautiful lives that are wealthy in every area. And that is my jam.
Yeah, I love that. I think it would be helpful for a little context for listeners to know that you say this in your intro, but you grew up poor. You grew
Yes.
up with a single mom. And so that feels to me in what you're saying, like it informs some of the why behind what you're doing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, 100%. So we were really poor growing up. And I really started to understand how important my work is when I had to live through it.
Yeah.
But when I was 5, I was watching the Nutcracker with my mom, and I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I was like, Mom, I want to do that. I had no idea what it was, but I was like, this is beautiful. I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't have money for dance lessons. There was no way that we could have done that. So what I did was watch the high school dance team. Right. And I learned how to dance from Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson on MTV. Yay. I'm that old. And anyway, so it came time to try out 11 years later for the high school dance team. And I made the team. I was so excited. I didn't expect to. I was absolutely thrilled. I remember being so sore from practicing in my basement, right? And I made the team, and I had this tight-knit community that came over, and they were like, oh my gosh, congratulations. This is so exciting. And I was so happy. And then I got the letter that talked about how much this was going to cost. Like the jacket, the costumes, the shoes, the competition entrance fees, and I don't know, Hannah, if you've ever kind of watched yourself go through something where you're like, oh, she's having an experience. But it was kind of like this out of body experience almost, where like my hands got sweaty, my mouth got dry, my stomach fell through the floor because there was no way.
Yeah.
Right. I just could not see how this was going to happen. Because when I say we were poor,
Yeah.
there were times we literally had half a loaf of bread that my mother had made from scratch and like a jar of honey. The end. Like that was it, right? So this was not me wanting to dance. It was like, yeah, that's cute. That's not happening. But as you can tell, I have a little bit of energy, and I got kind of like frisky around this, and I got a job at the mall. And if you're beautiful and young and you don't know what a mall is, just think of Stranger Things. But I got a job at the mall, right? And I got to sell tchotchkes on a cart that nobody needed, but it's cool because it was the 80s. So people were buying silly stuff. And I got my first paycheck, and I was so excited because it was enough for the down payment. And I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. And it was really this moment of like triumph and confidence. And I didn't have a bank account. So my mom and my younger half brother and I went to the grocery store where they had like a service desk where you could get checks cashed and do things like that. And as we're walking into the grocery store, my mom says, hey, Sarah, the strawberries are on sale. Can we get some? And I was like, thinking of the down payment, thinking of the strawberries. And I was like, yeah, we can do this. I can do both, right? So I go get my check cashed. I now have the cash in hand, and I go to find them in the express checkout with the strawberries, and they're not there. And I'm like, what happened? And I'm looking through all of the different aisles, and I see them in line with a cart full of groceries. And I know it's a cart full of groceries my mom cannot pay for. And I'm standing there looking in this cart, right? It's my brother's favorite breakfast cereal. It's some milk. It's bread for his lunches and some lunch meats and the strawberries. And I'm standing there, Hannah, and I know I can pay for the food that my family needs, or I can buy something I've wanted my whole life. But I can't do both. And at that moment, I decided I would never be able to take care of my family and myself. And cut to, I have 65 cousins, small Mormon family of 1 million, right? So I have 65 cousins, and I was the first woman to get a college degree in my family. And I moved to France, and I worked with handicapped children. I built houses for the homeless. And when I came back to the States, I moved to New York with $200 in my pocket. And I built my way up this huge corporate ladder to the point that, I'm now in this amazing corner office. I have 2 children. I'm married. I'm making a boatload of money, and I hate my life. And I'm sitting in my office listening to the clock in my office tick away the seconds of my life that I can't get back. And all of a sudden, in that moment, as I'm hearing the tick, 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 I remembered the moment in the grocery store that I had completely forgotten about. And I recognized that a 16-year-old girl was running my life. I had decided I couldn't take care of myself and my family. So my family was being provided for, and I was miserable. I was like really sick once a quarter. Wow. I was a skeleton with hair. Like I had, you know what I mean? I was skinny. I was stressed out. I was always sick. And I had a great job, by the way. Like this is not a bad job. It was great. But that was the day I got up and quit. And I decided that there no longer was a 16-year-old girl going to run my life. And I took all of that street knowledge I had. I'd worked for venture capitalists. I'd pitched to venture capitalists. I'd build these huge websites. I'd build these, media platforms. And I took all of that knowledge and decided to teach other women because I was always the only woman in the room. And I was like, what is that about? Yeah. So I started taking all of that expertise I'd learned and working with other women to help them start businesses, to understand how to run businesses, to understand how to do financial projections, to understand morale, and do all of this work. And it was so beautiful because I could do it on my own time and stay home with my kids. And that's really what started my business. And I don't mean to leave people hanging, but I did buy the groceries that day. And another mom on the dance team heard what had happened, and she bought my costumes for me. Still chokes me up. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then in 2019, I had this nudge to hold a conference in Salt Lake City. I was like, why? But I kept getting this nudge, like, host a conference in Salt Lake City. I'm like, all right. So I do, right? Which was great because I'd gone to UCLA. So people from LA are coming. People from the East Coast came in. And we had this wonderful conference. And at the beginning, I got to tell the story. And I said, how many of you know this story, right? It's called My Grocery Store Story. People know it. And I said, so what ended up happening with the costumes? And they were like, oh, another woman bought them for you. I go, she did. And she's right there. And I got to bring her up on the stage with me and thank her publicly. And that moment really showed me what happens when women have money, but money with power, not just the money, right? But money with power, and how much she changed the trajectory of my life that day and showed me how beautifully women handle money and what we do with it and how we share it with other people. And it meant so much to be able to do that with her because she actually passed away in 2020. And I was so grateful that I listened to that nudge and went out there and did that. And that's really what informs my work. It was my own experience. It was all of the years and years I worked on self-development, right? All of the years and years I'd worked to grow money for companies and expand money for companies. And it was like, there's something being left out here. And it's the heart and the soul of the woman behind it. And how many other women are running around with 8-year-olds running their lives, with 5-year-olds running their lives? And how do we work through that and create a brand new future that feels full, that feels wealthy in every way, not just in the bank account? That's great. Yes, we want that security, but that's nothing compared to what's available to us when we actually tap into our own power and understand where we've given it away.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I can see so much work, which, I have a version of this in my life too, but like reconciling now that 16-year-old with the corporate office version of you, with the new how to serve both.
Yep.
Like that's the work, right? I mean, can you say more about like, am I right? That's the work?
Yeah, that is the work. Like, okay, yeah. So it's like what I find, okay, myself included, right? What I find is we've all had moments in our lives that have truly shaped what we believe is possible.
Yeah.
And the work I do helps kind of erase that line that we drew in the sand that was fake. Like, I could have made up 1,000 beliefs from that day in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right? I could have decided having children meant you would always be poor. I could have decided that being a single mom is terrible and no one should ever have to be a single mom. I could have decided that little brothers are bad. I mean, like whatever, right? There's so much I could have picked, right? It's like the example I love to give people is like, let's say right now, Hannah, I like took this microphone in front of me and I threw it across the room all of a sudden. And you're like, what is going on with her? You could be like, maybe there was a spider on it. Maybe she has a fear of microphones. Maybe she just got electrocuted. Like we can make up all these different stories because of one thing. And when we start to see the power of that, it's like, well, why wouldn't you choose the story that is the most empowering? Right? I could have also chosen that day to be like, I'm always going to make so much money. Everybody has everything they need. That could have been the choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but it could have been. And look at how different my life would have been. And when we could start to see the power of that, like, I don't know if you have a friend who's always like, I am so stinking lucky. Like everything great always happens to me. Right. And then you have another friend who's like, I can't catch a break. We live inside of those beliefs and we make it real. And I know that sounds woo-woo, or sometimes people are like, oh, come on, we do not. And it's like, no, we really do. And the exercise I give people is like, pretend you're standing on the corner, like a street corner, and you're waiting for somebody in a gray Honda to come pick you up. Do you know how many gray Hondas you're going to see? And it's not like the dealership was like, all right, she's looking for gray Hondas, send out more. Like, no, it's just you've chosen to pay attention to them. So that's what you see.
Yeah, that's
And
a great.
we've all had that experience, right? Or when you're
Yeah.
in the grocery store and you can't find the one thing you're looking for, and someone like who works there comes on and like plucks it off the shelf and it was right in front of your face. And you're like, no, it literally wasn't there. You
Yeah,
cannot see things. When you say it's not there, you can't see it, but it could be there.
it's
And
so
it's
true.
wild, right? The brain is so powerful. So when I really work with someone and sit down and we start looking at what's actually possible, I kind of talk about it like it's like standing in the dark, right? You can't see anything. And then I put on night vision goggles for you. And all
Yeah,
of a sudden, everything that was already there is visible.
yeah,
That's literally what it feels like. And it's like, oh, my
yeah.
life could be freaking awesome. And all of a sudden, you can see all of it there. It's like right there. But
Yeah,
because it's like the equivalent of the grocery store person being like, it's right here in front of your face. Like we don't see it until we have someone else by our side. And I think this idea that we can just keep figuring it out ourselves I think it's really damaging, myself included. Like that's
oh, yeah.
been a strong suit of mine forever. I got this. I got that. Right. It's wow. What a disservice to ourselves to not turn to someone else and say, can you see something I can't see here?
Oh, I know, you can't read the label from inside the jar.
I love that phrase. I love that so much. Yes. It's so true though, right? We can't.
It's
Yeah.
true. You can
Yeah.
give such good advice to your friends, and you need them to give you exactly the same advice.
And you're like, it's so funny. And then when they give it to you, you're like, wow, I've never heard that before. What? You're like, dude, you just said it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
I know.
so true. This is why we need each other. And I think, just looking in business and looking at money and what's been happening, I am just seeing the ache for everybody to be in the same room again, to be
Oh my God.
together again. And we just need it so badly. There's nothing like human to human connection.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, do you ever worry at night that your business is not official yet or set up properly? It could be that you're dreaming of starting a business or that you've had one going for a while, but you're not quite sure if you've got the right insurance, legal setup, tax setup, DBA, separate bank account, all of the things, right? What do you actually need in your business? And what is really just for a much larger operation that is too expensive and not relevant to you? I am hosting a business setup and tune-up class April 29th. This is online. It is a 90-minute online workshop. It is going to be super, super valuable in helping you sleep better at night and know that your business is legit and set up with all the legal and tax boxes checked so that you know you are operating without the fear of what a lawsuit, an audit, the state coming after you could be about. So come to my business setup or tune-up class. It's a one-time workshop. It is $95. You are going to get everything, and there will be a question and answer period. You can ask me whatever you want to ask about. Is my business official? How do I make it official? We are going to talk about how to do a checkup, legal checkup, tax checkup, systems checkup. And part of the point of this class is knowing what is there for a much bigger business that you don't have to worry about. We want to right size your setup so you're only paying for what you need and you know that you have what you need so you will not get in trouble. So if you want to join that class, April 29th, it's going to be a wonderful workshop. This is a one-time paid workshop. You don't have to enroll in anything else to be there. Find the link in my show notes or go to sunlighttax.com, and the yellow banner at the top of the page is going to give a link to join. I hope to see you there. Well, let's make this a little more concrete. That is, I mean, I teared up when you were telling that story. It is so poignant and so painful. But can we kind of fast forward to now? I mean, we're in a bit of a moment right now. Am I right?
Yeah.
I am
I just got
curious.
chills when you said that. Yeah, we are.
Gosh, like business owner to business owner, speaking to an audience of business owners.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you are just observing right now? What is happening among your clients? And I want to kind of dig in there and maybe get some practical kind of applications. Like, how are you speaking to people in this moment? So let's
Yeah.
first talk about like, what are you seeing? I'm
What
curious.
are we seeing? I mean, I
Yeah.
think AI is a big thing that we just can't not discuss ever.
Yeah.
And the issue with AI that I think people are missing is that it can't think.
Yeah.
It can aggregate data. Thank
Yeah.
God. And it's so fast, right? It could spit out an outline or give you ideas. Oh my God, yes, but it cannot think.
Mhm.
That is still up to now, right? Completely a human ability.
Yeah.
And human to human is so needed right now.
Mhm.
We're starting to feel more and more bizarre. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
you like, people are like, what's even real? I don't even know what's happening. And I'm like, get out of your house, put down your phone, walk away from your computer, go be with people.
Yeah.
And the more I say that, the more their businesses grow. It's
Mhm.
gorgeous to watch. It's like I'm like the business coach who's like the anti-hustle business coach. I'm like, go be with people. Money comes into your business through people. Go be
Yeah.
with people. Reach out
Yeah.
to people. This bull honky that we're dealing with right now, it's not real. And it
Yeah.
feels real and it feels smart, but it's hollow. There's nothing in there. There's
Mhm.
no human being behind this extraordinary technology. It's beautiful, but there's no person there.
Mhm.
They're just an aggregation of data that's already here. Well,
Yeah.
that's not helpful because any problem we're up against, any problem in your business, in your life, in your own personal growth, any problem we're up against cannot be solved by the mind that caused the problem. It just
Yeah.
can't. Right? I think it was Einstein who said that. Like the solution cannot come from the brain that caused the problem. So to
Mhm.
look into back into AI for solutions, we're just recycling what the problem is.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes hard to wrap our heads around. But I think people are really starting to understand that. Like, you've actually got to come home to you. You have instincts, you have gut, you have internal
Mhm.
guidance. For some people believe it's the universe, God, it like the highest self, whatever it is
Yeah.
for you. That's the only place to find actual solutions. The
Mhm.
solutions aren't in the problem being regurgitated. And so I think as people are starting to understand that more, the
Mhm.
faster I can get somebody to understand that they actually have the answers internally.
Yeah.
And it's do right now because it's so loud out there. But when I tap into somebody and they start like remembering how great their intuition is, how freaking smart they are, and how
Mhm.
well they can solve problems, immediately the business starts seeing results. It's
Mm.
so powerful. And it's like giving the power back to the human.
Yeah.
I think it's something we really need to be focused on right now. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I mean, I'd love to know even more. Are you seeing like first of all, I agree about getting out, touching grass, being with humans.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been thinking about internet culture and that AI is drawing from internet culture. Like, and if you
Right.
think about it, anytime the nastiest things that people have ever said to me have been online, right? They've been
Yes.
because somebody's behind a screen and because it feels anonymous. In fact, the nastiest things are always said anonymously. Once you
Of
put your
course.
name on, it's harder to be such a jerk.
That's true.
And then
100%.
when you get in a room with somebody, that very same person would never do that. They would
Nope.
never do that watching the reaction on your face. And just like we have these built in safeguards in human to human contact that I think people get scared of because it's hard. But actually, it's really important that you see the emotion you're causing with somebody because it makes you tamp down the aggressiveness
Mhm.
dramatically and
Mhm.
realize like, oh, I only need like a tenth of this dose to get the point across. I don't need the all caps version.
That's right.
So
Yep.
I'm feeling like gentleness, love, and care shows up in physical spaces, with human beings interacting with each other. And that care starts to disappear once people are behind a screen. And AI is drawing from the online world, from the nasty part,
Yes.
and not the IRL part.
That's right. That's
That's,
exactly right. And that's why I'm saying the solution can't be found there.
yeah.
Everyone's like, "I just wanna write this real fast." I'm like, "Well, you're just taking other people's words, and it's not gonna resonate. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna land because 'cause they're
Mhm.
hearing it all over the place. The only way through this is to go inside, is to put on
Yeah.
the night vision goggles and see what's already here that's actually in your favor that you can tap into now.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's immediate. It's an immediate solution. It's just really loud, so we're distracted from it, but it's absolutely possible. Yeah.
totally. All right. So I just want to, before we talk about like kind of steps, solutions, although we've touched it. Can you give me a little bit more of like outlining the problem? Like, is there a client you have in mind or a couple clients where you can think of like some things that people are dealing with right now? Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let me pull from something in my head. There's so many right now.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say, for example, I have one woman. God, she's just gorgeous, by the way. I love people.
Mhm.
So I have a client right now who's got a business that's been started for a while, but it's kind of
Mhm.
stagnating, right? And she's like, I'm watching revenue go down. It's not working the way I want it to. And I say, great, tell me about your day to day.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I'll get started and then my husband needs something. And then I get started and then a past client needs something. And I'm like, oh, okay, but where's your time? I don't have any time. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, let's start there.
Mhm.
Right. And one of the things I tell so many women that I work with to do right away, right? It's free. You can start right now. And that is 10 minutes in the morning alone. That's it. Just don't pick up your phone. Give yourself 10 minutes to reconnect with yourself before you start the day. And what happens when people do that, right? So, this woman in particular, we started talking about that. And I'll get to why she was doing that in just a minute. But just that little 10 minutes every morning,
Mhm.
she started getting ideas. And it was
Mm.
like, "Oh my gosh, let me reach out to this person." And now she's hosting. It's so funny. I didn't tell her to do this, but she's actually hosting an in-person party and it's packed. She's
Mm.
already had to she's already had to turn people away and it's not for 2 more weeks, right? It's just done. Like, cuz she tapped into something in those 10 minutes. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I have an idea for exactly how I could have this go." And she found the venue, she found the drink source, she found the food. Like, it was like effortless almost, right? It just started to come together.
Mhm.
And the business she's already got from that on the back end is already coming in because she gave herself 10 freaking minutes. And that
Wow.
sounds like I swear to God, I'm not making it up. So along with that, right? Because I don't want to act like this is magical, but those 10 minutes were so potent and so
Mhm.
powerful because we found a moment in her past where she remembered her voice doesn't matter.
Mm.
She had an actual experience when she was 8 years old where the message to her was, be quiet. Your voice doesn't matter here. We don't
Mm.
need to hear from you. Zip it. So every time she would go to do something, she'd pull back because she was so scared someone was going to say to her, "What are you talking about? No one wants to hear this from you." So she'd stop. And that is dramatically going to affect the bottom line.
Of
It just
course.
can't not. And like, we develop these strong suits, right? Like, we get super forceful, we get super powerful, we're freaking exhausted, and we don't know if we've peed yet today, right? But we're
Mhm.
fine and we're pushing through, and it's like, if we could just pull back to that moment
Yeah.
and rebuild from there, all of a sudden you sit still in 10 minutes in the morning and it's super simple.
Mhm.
And I really think people are up against overcomplication. I think people are using AI too much. Like, give me 5 business ideas right now. Well, it's just going to give you what everybody else is doing, and then you're not going to stand out. Like,
Yeah,
who
totally.
cares? Right? Like, who cares what everybody else is doing? I don't know. Like, it's like, I always say to people, you have your business, you have your heart because it's yours to have.
Mhm.
It's like, I never was worried about becoming a heart surgeon. Not even on my radar. Not a thing. Don't care. Not going to
Yeah.
happen. Right? Like, nope. Because it's not mine to do here. If
Yeah.
it was mine to do here, I would have had the thought, like, I should really be a brain surgeon, a heart surgeon. Nope. I want to do, like, didn't even occur to me.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's occurring to you to do this means it's yours to do. And then my philosophy, not saying I'm right, but my philosophy is it's our job to deal with, grow, heal, and recreate everything that we need to deal with in order to make that possible. Right. And that
Mhm.
means we are getting out of our own way consistently. And it is not a one time thing. It's not magical. It's a consistent. And I always joke with my clients, I'm like, it's so boring to heal because it's one
Mm.
tiny decision after one tiny decision. And you wake up in 10 days and you have a different life. But
Mm.
it's not sexy while it's happening. It's not like this big sweeping, like we all want to do the New Year's resolutions, right? Where we're like, from now on, I'm going to, it's like, that's not how that works. It's
Yeah,
just
for
not
sure.
realist. It's just not real, right? It's
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
tiny moments.
I feel like I am the queen of teaching people really boring habits that make your life so much better. I
I
mean,
mean, you really are. You're so
could
good at
not
it too, Hannah. You're so good at it. Yeah.
it's like taxes could not be more one something people want to avoid more, and I'm lucky in a way, or not lucky. I chose this because I was like, people always, when in my painting life, in my art career, people would be interested in a painting and they would just defer forever. They would be like, yeah, I want to buy it, and I'd be like, cool, all right, 3 months have gone by, like, would you like to buy it? Yeah, I'm going to buy it. And there was like no deadline. There was no urgency ever to buy a painting. And so when
Interesting.
I was coming up with this business, I was like, I need something where the people realize that they have to do it. And I was like, taxes, that was one of the things that made taxes
It's
kind
so fascinating. Brilliant move, by the way. That's so smart. So
of
smart.
where I've been listening to this. I don't know if you know Tarzan Kay and Kelly Deals, but there's this Girl Boss Apology tour that Tarzan Kay is putting on. She's
Oh my
this
gosh, how
lovely.
fun.
It's great. This really. She's a lovely person. I've like used some of her copywriting tools at certain points, but she's putting on this tour about like launch models and online business and how it's changing right now, and like deconstructing these like predatory models that a lot of
Oh, thank
people,
God.
without even realizing it, have been copying. And just trying to deconstruct like what's working in online business now and what is the ethical path through this, and like what are the things we've done in the past that we don't want to do anymore, that we didn't may or may not have realized were kind of like, false deadlines and or fake urgency and things like that. And I've been thinking about that like, yeah, but my deadline is real.
Yeah, you're like, mine's not even made up. Look at that. Look at that. It's for true. I love it. That's so good. Oh, I love this. I love this idea that I'm so excited. I can't believe I don't know about this because wow, that is right up my alley.
It's
Love it.
really worth checking out. I mean,
I'm gonna.
just in terms of like what you've seen in your clients, and I don't know how many of them have online businesses. I do, so I'm very attuned to this, but I have noticed very much that people's trust levels are way down, and
Mhm.
I think because of these older methodologies that feel yucky to
Disgusting.
people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm realizing like, I feel that I could not run a more ethical business. I've from day one been very conscious all the time of trying to do, be transparent and ethical, but also like sales and business, like a lot of these things have been new to me and I have modeled myself on other things. And it's true that sometimes you're modeling yourself on something that isn't as good as, you later realize.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so making those adjustments have been, you know, has been interesting, but I've been noticing people are very reactive these days.
Yeah. And I think what you're talking about is actually quite critical. I know there's a lot of people calling it the trust recession, especially
Yeah,
for online service businesses like you and me. And boy, do I
yeah,
get that. And I absolutely respect that. And I think for that as well, I am really coaching people to go back to other people. Collaborations are they're just so beautiful. And this idea that we need this human to human connection, but it also alleviates the trust recession, right? Because we all have different audiences that have grown to trust us, right, over time, which is so beautiful. That's like not something we take for granted, right?
yeah.
And then we get to bring the two audiences together.
Hmm.
And now this audience understands this person's trustworthy and this audience understands this person's trustworthy. And the growth that can come from that is just extraordinary. And it's
Yeah.
so important that once again, we just go back to this fact that, money comes into the business through people. And the
Hmm.
more ethical we are with people, the more transparent we are with people, the more I'm calling it empathetic resonance, but the more
Mm,
empathetic resonance we have in our copy in anything that we say or share, people can feel it now. Our radars are sharper. Thank goodness, because that was a nasty 15 years or so when people were just churning and burning other human beings to get
yeah,
money. And I
yeah,
just, as an online business coach, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just like, it's not all of us. Like, I feel like saying that all the time because it's just insane what people were doing. And I'm so happy to see it being burnt to the ground. Honestly, I think
yeah,
it's really important.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it feels like a challenge to me, like every day, to be so just clear about my ethics and boundaries and my responsibilities, and also frankly like the client or audience responsibility as well, right? Like,
Yes.
hey, I don't work 100% for free. If you expect everything I do for free, like that's not a reasonable
Right.
expectation. It's not,
Right. That's not how that
there's
works.
like two sides.
You're
But
so
just like
funny.
making those boundaries clear is really
Yeah.
important, and it's also, I think, it's a challenge of our day for people like us who care so deeply about who we serve
Yeah.
to distinguish ourselves from these not good actors who've been in the mix. And I think it's really, somebody who doesn't know you well doesn't know that you're not that. And it's that to me is a challenge that people who've been following me for years and years are like well aware of this. But I think
Right.
newer people, I'm just noticing how reactive and like, ugh. So just like, proving myself, staying present, keep showing up, and distinguishing my ethics, I think is that I'm noticing that. Sorry, that was a
Yeah.
lot about me, and
No,
I
I
meant
thought that was great. Are you kidding? That was like perfect. And again, another reason, in my humble opinion, not to use AI,
Mhm.
right? Because it's going to pick up on all that old stuff. But
Yeah,
also, in what you're saying, these people who are being so reactive have every right to be. They have been
yeah,
burned so many times.
yeah,
And so, the other skill I've been working on with a lot of people, and you have to heal before you can do this really well, but is this really radical listening. Like,
mm,
absolutely removing our own egos from conversation with leads or potential clients or even online. That
mhm,
that our ego of like, "Well, but I am ethical, but I am the best." Like, that doesn't matter to them. What matters is someone's actually listening,
yeah,
and that's why I'm saying that takes so much healing, right?
yeah,
Because, like, let's take my client, for example. If she's been told her voice doesn't matter, and she
mhm,
goes out there to say she's ethical and someone's like, "I can't even hear you." She's like, "See? Told you my voice didn't matter," right? But if she heals
mm,
that and then she's able to go out and be like, "Listen, I think you're going through this and I can
mhm,
help with that."
yeah,
They're like, "Oh, thank God somebody finally heard me." And now her worry is gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I really appreciate how you looped that back into that story. How she hears a thing when she has that story in her head, but you can see from the outside that might not necessarily be the story that has to be told there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
really
It's really powerful.
that
Yeah.
is really powerful. I also want to just say for the listeners, Sarah you have a fantastic podcast, the
Aw.
Game On Girlfriend podcast. And I want to say, like, I was listening recently. Again, you're going to notice the little theme in what I'm thinking about, but I was listening to our online course is dead episode that you just
The good
had.
episode, right? Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I'm thinking about it, but your guest, I apologize, I'm blanking on her name, but your wonderful guest there.
Yes. It's so funny
She
because I can't you just made me blank too, but it's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah.
We'll get it. We can link to that episode in the show notes. But you two were talking about AI and, our online course is dead and like how much easier it is to build a course, but how much more important it is to have like the essential elements and to edit. And she was saying like, yeah, you can get AI to help you, build a course outline and 15% of it will be good.
That's right.
I was just like, oh, that's so like I needed to hear that. I
Yeah.
just was listening this week and I was like, I needed to hear that because it is sort of like batted around like it's gonna solve your problems. It can work so quickly. These things are true. But like, yeah, right. That inner wisdom that you have developed over time from being in your business, knowing your client really well, you want to really listen hard to that this like, AI, yes, can build a thing, but do you want a thing that only 10% is good? It's drawing from the 90% of the crap that's out there.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
yeah.
And I just keep telling people it cannot think. It
Yeah.
cannot think.
Hmm.
And that is so important for us to remember. And I think there will be, or at least I hope, maybe I'm being hopeful here, but I think there really will be a backlash
Hmm.
against using it the way that we're using it right now. We might end up using it for other things,
Yeah.
right? Like I used it last summer to help me. I took 8 girls to Martha's Vineyard with my teenage daughter, help me. I mean, we had the best time, but oh my gosh, it's a lot of teenage energy, right?
Yeah.
And I used AI to help me come up with menus. Like,
Oh,
what are
wow.
easy menus for me to do every day? It was so helpful, right? So stuff
That's great.
like that, yes, use it for that. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so good because it goes out and curates the whole freaking interwebs, right? Comes back
Yeah.
and says, well, this salad's really easy to make. 5 stars for this recipe. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's
Yeah.
what we can use it for. Like,
Yeah.
yes. But this idea that we're outsourcing our thought, no,
Or
no,
your unique magic. I mean, I
yeah,
think,
no way.
my clients are a lot of creative people and people who do work that really matters, care work, healing work,
Right.
therapy. And part of why people are drawn to doing work like that is because it's so unique and special, because you are really doing a thing that only you can do. And that
Yes.
is exactly what cannot be replaced. That is exactly what you can't lean on AI for. Now, can AI do some admin tasks to make you have more time for that important part? Yes. And use
Yeah.
it for that. But
Yes.
that, like, you are a human and that special magic you have, I think I want to just keep that front and center. Like, that is the golden egg in the nest.
It's 100%,
Yeah.
100%. And I think people are really trying to outsource that because it's hard work, right? It's hard work to kind of like release the rest of the world and what it's thinking to come inside and be still.
Yeah.
We're not used to that, right?
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it does take a different set of muscles. But boy, is it worth it. Boy, is
Yeah.
it worth it.
Yeah. I hear that. I love that. Sarah, it's been so delightful to talk to you. I love your energy. I love who you serve and why you serve them.
Mm,
So good.
too.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, you can head on over to my website. It's just sarahwalton.com. I also have a YouTube channel where I do a lot of stuff for free there. I love making videos for people and just helping out there. We have the podcast, the Game On Girlfriend podcast, and you can find me on Instagram. I tend to hang out at thesarahwalton.com.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a delight. I'm wishing you all the luck. And you made me think about my 16-year-old girl inside today.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Hannah. It's been a joy.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.